Hello everyone! How are you feeling today? Um, I love it outside today where I am. I have gorgeous blue, clear skies, and let me tell you, I really have not seen any chemtrails in since the middle of July, too. We've had a lot of smoke from the fires, so some days will be the sky is completely white all the way around, and it's just the weirdest thing because I never thought that like smoke would make the whole sky just blank out white. I mean, usually you get the gray smoke and you can smell it and you can't smell anything, but it's completely white, like it's been purposely blocked out. But today, we have beautiful, clear blue skies. And in my previous video, I told you about some of my transmissions, but let me tell you a little story. We have a horned owl in our neighborhood that hangs around like my neighbor's house and my house. It's so cool. Um, my mother used to love owls when she was alive, and she had porcelain owls, and she just loved owls. She thought they were so neat. And anyway, this we kept hearing a screeching at night, and I thought it was the hawks around, but I haven't seen the hawks are not around, and I think it's because of the smoke we've had lately. But we have this horned owl. So about a week ago, it was in my neighbor's backyard, and it flew down and landed on the fence post. And, it's probably, you know, good size, about a foot and a half tall, just beautiful. And it was just sitting there and it was looking around, and I was just sitting in the backyard just watching it. It was so mesmerizing. And my neighbor didn't see it and walked in his backyard, and it scared it off, and it flew really low right across my backyard and up into my other neighbor's shop. And I watched it for a long time before it flew off. And then last night I was outside. I like to go out at dusk time at like 6:30 to 7:30 before it gets really dark, and that's usually when they're out. And I saw him last night sitting on my neighbor's fence post and just staring at everything. His little head was turning around every which way, and so then I was telling it how beautiful it was, and thank you so much for letting me watch it. And it turned around and it flew closer, and it flew to my, our shared fence post. And he sat there for a long time, and then I think he was watching the quail in our pine tree. So after that, he flew up and landed onto our shed's roof, and each time he got a little bit closer and a little bit closer, and I could see him real well. And then eventually he flew up and landed right next to the pine tree on the top of our house. So I know he's after those birds in the pine tree. But it was so great to see him like so up close, probably 15 feet from me. It was so cool. Anyway, they're like a little reminder of my mom every time I see one. But I don't know, for some reason our yard has always, everywhere we've lived, we've always got animals. The animals are attracted. Maybe it's holding higher frequencies. Maybe they know. They know. Animals know if you love animals. They know because they can feel your frequency. If you're a good person or a bad person, they definitely can feel that. I just thought I'd share that with you. Today, I'm going to read to you out of Kireal The Great Shift. Again, this was back in 1998. And I'm not one, I don't promote fear. I hate fear. I don't like the fear porn. But I'm going to read to you today about the 3 days of darkness. And I don't think we're going to have a 3 days of darkness anymore. Right now we're all talking about the 10 days of darkness, of possibly not having internet or having electricity or having power. We just don't know. Like, none of us knows what's going to happen during that time. Hopefully everyone's prepared for that. So I don't know if we're going to have a 3 days of darkness or not, but this basically explains a little bit, tells you a little bit about what might happen. And maybe some of it will come true, maybe some of it won't. So anyway, I thought I would read it to you because it is kind of interesting. So let's see. Sorry, I had it bookmarked. Okay, here we go. So 3 days of darkness. Let me open this chapter with a deep concern. Whenever any fear slips in, my apologies will be loud and clear, for that is not the purpose of this work. I want to avoid it at all costs. The 3 days of darkness are not about fear and panic, but about ascension into, he says, the fourth dimension. But I believe we're going into the fifth, because right now I feel we're already in the fourth, and that's why it's so hard too, because we're in different timelines and we're in different dimensions, and we're balancing that every day, and sometimes and some days it's very painful for us who have higher frequencies. So when he says fourth dimension, just think fifth. I extend my apologies over and over again for any fear that might arise, and please understand that I am not trying to scare you. I am trying to prepare you for ascension. The shift is about love, and any fear you feel is what you have chosen. Choose wisely, my friends, for the shift will be the start of an awakening to behold. So again, this is why we can't show violence right now. We're supposed to show love, because the fifth dimension is all about love and compassion. The 3 days of darkness actually pertain to Mother Earth's entry into the photon belt. This will produce the 3 days of darkness, and this event heralds the beginning of the shift or ascension into the fourth dimension, fifth dimension. Let me give you a brief explanation of what will happen during this period. The whole event will take place over a period of 7 to 10 days or so, but please don't hold me to these numbers because it can fluctuate a day or so either way. So first day, there will be the sense of complete and utter turmoil at this point. It is not to create fear. Yes, the fear is allowed by the Creator, but you do not have to enter into this fear. Those of you who read this work will be aware of the events that will transpire during this period. You will say to yourself, this is exactly what Kireal said would happen. You will still have to fight off the fear though, because it will permeate the earth plane. It's an awakening of a very deep cellular memory that must come to the surface. This is contrived by the light beings to make sure that everybody gets through the shift by really healing their fears. And again, because you live so much in fear, you actually do so many good things from fear. Healing your fear is all a part of the Creator's design. This is another reason why you should be attempting to deal with your current fears. As you become practiced in dealing with and dissipating your fears, you will be able to cope with the shift. Some fears that you face today are things like, are my bills paid? Will I remain married, and if not, what shall I do? Will I lose all my money on some silly investment? These are of course very real, but when looked at in reality, all you need to do is confront the issue and be willing to handle it to the point where the issue comes to total clarity. Then guess what? It always turns out to be not that great big monster you saw. In fact, it becomes extremely manageable for the most part. This is why I emphasize that you complete all your self-learning projects on a timely basis. When you have learned as best as possible to deal with your fears. It will make the shift an adventure as opposed to a nightmare. Practice makes perfect. So in the very first day, you will vibrate with the illusion of mass illness and seemingly devastating disruption. You will literally be leaving the third dimension and become caught up in the fourth dimension with the photon energy mixing in. You will sense the Earth's shifting, major shifting, more so than you've ever felt up to that point. You will quite literally not want to be walking around in the first 12 hours or so of this first day. You will literally be forced to remain stationary. This is Mother Earth's way of coming to a screeching halt. In this period, she shakes herself out and realigns many of her aspects. All of this is already mapped out, and she knows just how far to go without knocking herself completely off course. So that will be one of your very first indications, the appearance of massive turmoil, followed by Mother Earth really rumbling. You will have had a number of earthquakes prior to this. Earthquakes will have become almost commonplace by this time. I'm not talking about your big 8s or 9s on the Richter scale, but 5s and 6s and below, because that's where Mother Earth will show that she is just getting ready. But when she gets into her final shift position, where the energy of the dimension is going, from the third dimension to the fourth or fifth, and the photon energy has already begun to engulf Earth, she will set the stage for her last spins through the third dimension. So for about 12 to 16 hours on that first day, you will literally have a difficult time staying upright. Maybe that's why we feel all this dizziness. Don't panic. Do you know how many times you need to be reminded of this? Please don't panic. If you do not panic in these first few hours, things will begin to settle themselves because of the rocking and rolling will begin to taper off. Next, some of the other features that will begin to manifest are the decrease in temperature and sunlight. It will actually begin to look like late evening for the next couple of days. You won't get to see much of the sun from here on until you get out of this part of the shift. In that time, an awesome awakening will begin to manifest. Depending on your extrasensory abilities, those friends or relatives who have passed on to the other side will be able to communicate with you. This will enable you to work in a way that most have not experienced in this current embodiment. This is just one more reason why, for the past few years, the guides who know of the shift have been recommending meditation. My truth tells me that the word should be uppercase, for that is the importance I place on it. So, meditate, meditate. Second day, increasing darkness will have begun to permeate the earth plane, along with a cold never before experienced. It will be a deep cold, for it will penetrate inside you, like when you feel that cold to you're just cold to the bone sometimes. At this time, you will make a connection with other entities who are not carbon-based. Here's another reason why you cannot live your life based in fear. You will be faced with what will appear to be some of your greatest tests. All you will need to understand is that it is a test. It is a test. You will need only to hold on to the light, for in using the white light, your awareness peaks and the test will disappear. Third day. On the third day, Mother Earth will fully enter the photon belt, and the actual shift of the fourth dimension will occur. Fifth dimension. This will be where the photon energy envelops the earth plane and the 3 days of darkness begin. The outer band of the photon energy is very dense in order to sweep out the third dimensional essence and ignite fourth dimensional energy, fifth dimensional energy. It will be dark because the light particles are so dense that they take on the appearance of no light. It will take approximately 3 days to get through this outer band and it will appear as if you are in total darkness. Now, don't wake up 72 hours later, walk around and say, "That's it, I'm out of here." You will have to pay attention and not get hung up on time, for that will become the trickster and will cause the energy to take even longer to calm. As you move into the photon energy, it will literally block out the sunlight. This will be the real darkness, my friends. The essence of the photon energy literally has the ability to block out the sunlight. So when I talk about darkness, I'm talking about the real purity of darkness. However, some of the sun's thermal energy will get through, so you won't have to experience an ice age. It won't be that severe, but trust that it will get extremely cold. Your body will undergo a vibrational shift to compensate for the lack of mobility that most will experience. It won't make sense to try and get out and fix anything. It will make sense to try to go down to the corner store to see if it's open. You will not starve to death. Nobody will starve to death in 3 days. In the first place, your metabolism will change so that you won't need food. You will ingest only the lightest of substances. In the beginning, there will be only that which the Creator has brought light to in the form of the plant world. This is what Creator always supplied you with. For whatever reason, you haven't used it wisely up until this point. Now you will not only utilize plants wisely, but you will also learn the true essence of their vibration. I'm sure some will have a bit of time resonating with this, but most will actually begin to enjoy this new food source. How can people in warm climates prepare for this period? Not by buying 10 blankets or building some sort of cold-proof room. The medium reminded me of when he was a young lad and all the people were building shelters in the earth and stocking them with canned foods. This was in response to someone possibly dropping some sort of giant bomb, and the only safe place was in some sort of shelter. Let me assure you, my friends, none of that will be necessary this time. By the time this event actually engulfs your Earth's plane, those who are destined to experience the fullness of the event will have learned about vibrational body transfer and motion alliance, so the essence will be completely protected. Be clear that the body energy will get everybody through. That's why it will be important to embrace your brothers and sisters in love. You won't freeze to death because you will have learned about meditation and vibrational body transfer. All these things you are learning on this very mundane level are actually preparation for a time not so far into the future. In the middle of these 3 days of complete darkness and cold, most of the world's population will be immobilized. You will slow down to such a state that the 3 days of darkness won't feel like current time does, my friends. That's how some of the fear will be displaced. You will hardly even remember going through this part of the density. Once it's started and you hit the first of the 3 days, you'll literally go into a state of hibernation within yourself. After the shift, coming out on the other side of those days of darkness will be beyond your wildest expectations. As the darkness dissipates, you will have another 2 or 3 days before it becomes daylight again. It will appear as dusk. When you take your first step, you will realize you no longer touch the ground like you used to. You will find that you can take a hop into the air, stay there a little while, and kind of float back down. There will be pockets of this new energy still somewhat thick, so this might be a little tricky at times. You will feel something new moving through your body, and will find that you can fill your body with this new energy that radiates within. From top to bottom, you will love this new feeling that will completely overwhelm the new you. It will take 2 to 4 years for most to learn how to deal with this newness under the guidance of teachers who will carry you through this new reality. They will be honored for what they share, and you will appreciate all those who practice on this side to learn the art of manifesting. Can you begin to understand why it's so important for all to get the lessons completed before the shift? That way, there will be no need to experience them afterwards. As a caution, let me remind you that you will take any unfinished experiences into this reality. So before the shift, prepare as much as possible so you do not have to waste precious time while others are moving into a new pace. You will wonder why you're not hungry because of how much time has passed. Not only will you not have the slightest bit of hunger pain, but most of all, if not all, of your body fat will be gone. Let's hope. Oh my God, that'd be wonderful, wouldn't it? When you finally do get hungry, you will recognize that you need to eat something that God created. Then you'll look at the plants that have always been there, but you never really noticed them before. You'll pick one of them. Oh my God, I can't talk. You'll pick one of them, put it in your mouth, and it will slowly dissolve, and you'll feel its energy emanate into your system. Then suddenly you'll realize that you are breathing differently. Your breath will come in through the crown of your head and will fill your body in a manner you are not really accustomed to. In those first few days after the shift, you will learn how to function with everything that is different. Many new things will occupy your new and enlightened thinking process. Your thought process will be so clear and your memory will be beyond anything you will have prepared for. You will have approximately 2,000 years to revel in the glory of the fourth dimension. Which there, I think, again, I don't think we're on a cycle anymore. We're not going circular. We're breaking this son of a bitchin' wheel and we are getting out of here for good. So, in essence, my friends, although it will seem like a rather shaky situation, this is the beginning of a period of total enlightenment. Most of you have been preparing for many lifetimes just to remember the totality of ascension. Nothing has been wasted, so don't ask, why didn't I just wait for this instead of going through all the trauma? Learn with great desire so as not to take any old baggage into this new and exciting era. This is just the beginning. Don't judge the total experience by this short span of time, and most certainly don't panic. So that's a little bit about what happens. Like there's a bunch of question and answering in this book. It goes into detail a little bit more, but yeah, I don't know. I don't feel that. I think we might have been on that timeline, but I don't think we're going to go through that anymore. But just take what resonates with you and leave the rest. But yeah, I think what's coming up, who knows? You know, I'm still waiting for that great solar flash to help push us into the fifth dimension and so we can go home. I just know, you know, I've had the physical symptoms. A lot of people have had physical symptoms lately of, you know, being really dizzy, extremely tired. You know, I try to go to bed at 10:30, at 11 at night now instead of 12 or 1 in the morning. But I wake up all through the night because I have animals and I don't close my door. Everyone else in the house closes their doors so the animals don't bother them. But, you know, I have to leave mine cracked because otherwise they just come paw at my door and wake me up anyway. But anyway, I've tried to go to bed earlier and then I wake up in the morning and I'm so exhausted. And sometimes I'm not tired, but I don't want to get out of bed. I just want to lay there. I don't want to do anything. I just want to lay there. I have to force myself to get out of bed and get going and get stuff done. I know since August and the Lion's Gate and after being sick, like I feel like I have a little bit more energy and I've been trying to get things done around my house that I've been needing to get done. I've been dizzy, body aches. Oh my gosh, my joints everywhere, my hips, my ankles, every joint in my body hurts. So, but I do feel we're on a positive timeline. So we're just waiting for a few more things to happen in this movie we call life, and hopefully things will start looking better. So anyway, if you have any questions, email me at the email below in the description, because I haven't looked at it for a couple months, because normally no one emails me with any questions or anything like that. So I don't know if people are watching these all the way through. But anyway, thank you for listening today. I will do some more readings probably out of those books. The next one I do will probably be about the return of the star beings from Little Grandmother. Like I said, there's ships out there. They're all over and they're waiting. And I've been there. I've been out there looking down. So anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Hang in there, and I love you. Thank you to all my subscribers, and I just wish that y'all stay in good health, and speak up and stand up and hold the line and hold the light warriors. Okay, I love you all. Thank you so much. Till next time.